Life can feel heavy. Sometimes you wake up and your heart already feels tired before the day even begins. You think about problems, about people, about the future, and the noise inside your head feels louder than the world outside. You want peace, but instead, you feel fear. You want joy, but instead, you feel stress. And in those moments, you ask yourself a quiet question. How can I stay calm? How can I stay positive when life feels so hard? Maybe you know this feeling. Maybe you have sat alone and thought, why can't I control my mind? Why does everything bother me so much? You look at others who smile, who seem relaxed, and you wonder why it feels so difficult for you. You try to push negative thoughts away, but they come back stronger. You want to be calm, but your heart races. You want to be positive, but your mind pulls you down. And deep inside, you worry that maybe you will always feel this way. But here is the truth. You are not broken. You are not weak. Your mind is simply full of noise, and no one ever gave you the tools to clear it. Staying calm and positive is not about ignoring problems. It is about learning how to stand strong when problems come. It is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about finding peace inside yourself, even when the outside world is stormy. And that is what we are going to do together in this video. Chapter 1. I remember the first time I realized I was not calm at all. It was a normal day. Nothing big was happening, but inside my head, it felt like a storm. A small mistake at work, a small comment from someone, a small worry about tomorrow, and my mind was already drowning. My heart beat faster. My thoughts became louder, and I could not enjoy even the good things that were in front of me. And maybe you know this too. Sometimes it is not the big problems that break us. It is the small drops of stress that keep falling on us until we feel completely wet, unable to breathe. In that moment, I thought something was wrong with me. Why was I so weak? Why could I not stay calm when other people seemed fine? But later, I understood something important. Calmness is not natural. Calmness is not something you are born with. Calmness is something you practice. Just like learning English or learning to play music, staying calm is a skill. And like every skill, it begins small. The first lesson I learned was that my breath was my secret key. I did not believe it at first. How can simple breathing change my emotions? But I tried. I closed my eyes. I placed my hand on my chest, and I took one deep breath, then another, then another. Slowly, my racing heart slowed down. Slowly, my busy mind started to quiet. It was not magic, it was simple. But in that simple moment, I felt power. I realized I was not a prisoner of my thoughts. I had a tool. And maybe right now, you feel restless. Maybe your mind is jumping from one worry to another. I want you to try something with me. Pause. Inhale deeply. Hold it for a second. Then exhale slowly. Again. Once more. Do you feel it? That little space, that little calm, is already inside you. You just forgot how to visit it. And this is the first step. When life feels heavy, go back to your breath. It is always with you. It is your anchor when the storm tries to carry you away. But here comes the surprising truth. The storm outside may never stop. Problems will come. People will hurt you. Work will stress you. The world will not suddenly become calm. But you can. And that is your real power. Calmness does not mean silence outside. It means silence inside. And when you carry silence inside, the noise outside cannot control you anymore. I still remember the first time I used this in real life. I was about to argue with someone. My anger was ready to explode. But instead of shouting, I paused. I took a deep breath. Then I spoke with a softer voice, and something amazing happened. The other person also became calmer. That day I realized my calmness is not only for me, it changes the people around me too. So, in this first step, remember this truth. Calmness is a practice, not a gift. You are not weak for losing it. You are simply untrained, and the training begins with your breath. That is where positivity also begins. Because when you breathe deeply, you give your mind a small space to choose a better thought, a better word, a better action. And now I want you to imagine this. The next time stress comes, instead of reacting quickly, you pause, you breathe, you wait for just a few seconds. And in those few seconds, you take back your control. That is the moment you start winning. That is the moment you remember you are not the storm. You are the calm inside it. Chapter 2. There was a time when I believed positivity meant smiling all the time. I thought if I forced myself to look happy, then I was positive. But inside, I felt empty. I would smile at people, but my heart was heavy. I would say, I'm fine, but inside I was tired, worried, and sad. And maybe you know this too. Sometimes we put on a mask because we do not want the world to see our pain. But deep inside, we know the truth. The smile is only on the outside. One day, I realized something important. Positivity is not fake happiness. Positivity is not saying everything is okay when it is not. True positivity is seeing the problem clearly, but choosing not to be destroyed by it. It is standing in the middle of the storm and saying, yes, this is hard, but I will not let it break me. That is positivity. It is not about pretending. It is about believing there is still hope, even in dark times. I remember once, when I failed an exam, I felt crushed. My first thought was, I am useless. I am not smart enough. My mind became full of negative voices. But then, after some time, I asked myself a question. What can I learn from this? At first, I did not want to hear that question. I wanted to sit in my pain. But slowly, that question gave me a new thought. Maybe this failure is not the end. Maybe it is a lesson. And that little change was the beginning of my positivity. Here is the truth. The thoughts you choose become the emotions you feel. If you choose, I am a failure, you will feel hopeless. If you choose, this is a lesson, you will feel strong. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant weeds, weeds will grow. If you plant flowers, flowers will grow. But here is the surprise: your mind will grow whatever seed you put inside it. It does not choose. You choose. And maybe right now, your garden is full of weeds. Negative thoughts that keep repeating. I am not good enough. Nothing will change. Life is too hard. These are the weeds. But you have the power to plant new seeds. Simple seeds like, I will try again. I can improve. I am learning. When you water these seeds every day, they will grow stronger than the weeds. And slowly, your mind will look different. The problem is, negative thoughts come automatically. They are fast. They are loud. They are easy. Positive thoughts are slower, softer, and need effort. That is why most people give up. But if you pause and choose the softer thought, even once, you begin to change your brain. And the more you choose it, the stronger it becomes. This is how positivity becomes natural. I still remember a day when everything went wrong. I lost money. I lost a friend. I lost my motivation. My mind wanted to cry, why me? Why now? But instead, I whispered to myself, I will survive this too. And that little sentence gave me enough strength to keep moving. Positivity is not about ignoring pain. It is about whispering hope when your mind screams fear. So if you want to stay positive, do not force fake smiles. Do not lie to yourself. Instead, be honest. Yes, this is hard. Yes, I am tired. But I will not give up. I will find the good inside this bad. That is positivity. That is real strength. And maybe you are asking, but what if I fail again? What if things do not change? Here is the answer. You will fail again. Problems will come again. But each time, you will also rise again. And each time you rise, you will become stronger than before. That is the secret of positivity. It is not about avoiding falls. It is about getting up again and again with a hopeful heart. Chapter 3. When I was younger, I thought calmness and positivity depended on the outside world. I told myself, if life is easy, I will be calm. If people are kind, I will be positive. If I get what I want, then I will feel happy. But very soon I discovered the truth. Life is not always easy. People are not always kind. And we do not always get what we want. If my peace depended on those things, then I would never be free. This realization was painful but powerful. It showed me that real calmness must come from inside, not from outside. Think about it. If your peace depends on everything around you being perfect, then your peace is very weak. But if your peace comes from inside, then nothing outside can take it away. You become strong because you carry your calm with you. I remember a time when I was sitting in a crowded bus. Everyone was shouting, pushing, complaining. My head hurt from the noise. I thought, how can I feel calm here? It's impossible. But then I closed my eyes for just a moment. I focused on my breath. I reminded myself, the noise is outside. My peace is inside. And something amazing happened. The noise was still there, but I felt calm. That day I learned, calmness is not about silence around you. It is about silence within you. Maybe you feel the same. Maybe you wait for life to get easier before you feel better. But the truth is, life may not get easier. The world may stay noisy, busy, and hard. So if you keep waiting, you will wait forever. But if you choose to create peace inside yourself, you can carry it anywhere. Even in the middle of chaos, even in the middle of pain, you can be calm. That is real freedom. And here is a surprise. The moment you stop depending on the outside world, you gain real power. Because now you are not controlled by others. Their words cannot destroy you. Their moods cannot break you. Their actions cannot steal your peace. You become the master of your own emotions. And this is the secret that so many people never learn. I still remember when someone insulted me in front of others. My face burned with anger. I wanted to shout back. But then, in that painful moment, I paused. I asked myself, do I want to give them control of my peace? The answer was no. So I breathed deeply, stayed silent, and walked away. It was not weakness. It was strength. Because I chose not to let them control my inner world. And that choice made me free. Maybe right now you feel like your emotions are in the hands of others. One bad word from someone ruins your whole day. One small problem destroys your mood. But remember this, you always have a choice. You cannot control what happens outside, but you can control what happens inside. And that is enough to change your whole life. So here is the lesson of this chapter. Do not wait for life to calm down before you feel calm. Do not wait for everyone to treat you perfectly before you feel positive. Begin inside. Create your own peace. Carry it with you. Because when calmness comes from inside, No one can take it away. Chapter 4. There was a time when I thought my thoughts were stronger than me. They came like waves, and I was just a small boat, moving wherever they pushed me. If the thought was sad, I became sad. If the thought was angry, I became angry. If the thought was fearful, I became afraid. Maybe you know this too. You wake up, and one small negative thought grows into a whole story in your mind. And before you know it, your day is already dark. But later, I learned something that changed my life. I am not my thoughts. I am the observer of my thoughts. Imagine you are sitting beside a river. The water flows in front of you. Some leaves float on the water. Some sticks, some flowers. These are your thoughts. They come, they pass, and they go away. You are not the river. You are the person sitting by the river watching. This small change of perspective is very powerful because once you understand it, your thoughts lose their control over you. I remember one evening, I was lying in bed. My mind was full of worries about tomorrow. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I cannot handle it? These thoughts felt real. They made my body tense. But then I said to myself, these are only thoughts. They are not reality. I pictured them as clouds passing in the sky, and slowly, I began to relax. The problems were still there, but the panic was gone. Because I remembered I am not my thoughts. I am the sky, wide and open, while my thoughts are only clouds that come and go. Here is a truth I want you to hold close. A thought only has power if you believe it. If you treat it like truth, it will control you. But if you watch it like a cloud, it will pass. Negative thoughts are not the enemy. Believing them is. And the moment you step back and observe, you take back your freedom. Maybe right now, you have a thought repeating in your head. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Things will never change. That thought feels heavy because you keep holding it. But imagine if you placed it gently on a leaf and let it float away down the river. Imagine if you let it go, like a balloon rising into the sky. How light would you feel? That is the power of not being trapped by your thoughts. One day, a friend asked me, how can you stay calm when bad thoughts come? I told him, I don't fight them. I watch them. Fighting creates more noise. Watching creates distance. And in that distance, peace is born. The thought says, you will fail. But the calm voice inside says, that is only a thought. I don't have to believe it. And that choice creates positivity, even in the middle of negativity. This is not easy at first. Your mind will try to pull you in. Your heart will believe the thought is real. But with practice, you will get better. Just like exercise makes your body strong, watching your thoughts makes your mind strong. Each time you pause and observe, you are building calmness inside. So remember this lesson. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who watches them. The thoughts are like passing clouds. You are the endless sky. And once you realize this, no storm of thoughts can break you. Because storms may come, but the sky always remains. Chapter 5. There was a period in my life when I carried too much. Every small problem, every heavy word, every mistake stayed in my heart like stones in a bag. The bag grew heavier each day, and I wondered why I felt so tired. It was not my body that was tired, it was my soul. I was carrying things I should have let go. And maybe you feel this too. Maybe you keep replaying old mistakes in your mind. Maybe you still hold anger towards someone who hurt you. Maybe you cannot forgive yourself. These are the stones we carry. and they make us lose our calm and our positivity. One day, I sat alone and asked myself, why do I carry so much pain? The answer was simple. I was afraid to let go. I thought if I let go, I would lose control. I thought holding pain was safer than opening my hands. But then I realized something powerful. Holding pain does not protect us, it only poisons us. Forgiveness is not a gift for the other person. It is a gift for yourself. Letting go is not weakness. It is freedom. I remember once, a close friend betrayed me. I trusted them, and they broke my trust. For months, I replayed their words in my head. I felt anger, sadness, even hate, but nothing changed. They lived their life while I suffered in mine. One day, I looked in the mirror and saw how tired I looked. I asked myself, why am I still giving them power over me? That was the moment I decided to forgive, not because they deserved it, but because I deserved peace. And the day I forgave, I felt lighter, as if the stone had finally fallen from my bag. Maybe you have someone in your life who hurt you, or maybe the person you cannot forgive is yourself. But I want you to hear this. You do not need to carry it anymore. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean saying what happened was okay. It means you refuse to let the pain control your life. It means you choose peace over punishment. And that choice gives you calmness like nothing else. Here is the surprising truth. The more you let go, the more space you create inside for positivity. Imagine your heart is a cup. If it is full of anger, fear, and regret, there is no space for love, hope, or joy. But when you pour out the bitterness, you make room for sweetness. And suddenly, life begins to taste different. I still remember the first night I forgave myself for failing. I whispered to myself, "It's okay. You did your best. You will try again." Tears came, but they were healing tears. From that day, I understood that forgiveness is not only about others. It is about looking at yourself with kindness. And when you show yourself kindness, calmness and positivity grow naturally. So here is the lesson. If you want to stay calm and positive, do not carry every stone with you. Put some down. Forgive when you can. Release when you must. And remind yourself that peace is more important than punishment. Because the person who deserves peace the most is you. Chapter 6. There was a morning when I woke up and immediately reached for my phone. I read the news. I scrolled through social media. I saw other people's lives. And before my day even began, I felt heavy. My calm was gone. My mind was restless, and my heart was already comparing itself with others. I thought to myself, how can I feel positive if I start my day like this? And that day, I learned something very important. The way you begin your morning shapes your entire day. Maybe you know this too. The alarm rings, and before you even breathe, your mind is full of noise, messages, problems, responsibilities, fears, and suddenly you are rushing, stressed, and disconnected. But here's the truth. Calmness and positivity begin in the first hour of your day. If you start with chaos, your mind stays in chaos. If you start with peace, your mind carries peace. I remember the first time I decided to change my morning. I left my phone on the table. I woke up, sat on my bed, closed my eyes, and took 3 deep breaths. Then I whispered one positive sentence. Today is a new chance. It was so simple, but it changed my whole day. I walked slower. I smiled more. I reacted with patience. And all of it began with just one quiet morning choice. Here is the surprising thing. You do not need a perfect morning routine to feel calm. You do not need 1 hour of meditation or a list of 10 habits. You just need one moment of peace before the world enters your head. That one moment is enough to remind you that you are in control of your day. Maybe right now you believe your mornings are too busy. You have work, family, responsibilities. But even in the busiest life, you can take 1 minute to breathe, to whisper gratitude, to remind yourself that today is not yesterday. That small act can carry calmness through hours of stress. One time, I had a very difficult day waiting for me. Meetings, deadlines, problems. My mind wanted to start with fear. But instead, I wrote 3 things I was thankful for in my notebook: my health, my family, my chance to try again. That list was short, but it made my heart lighter, and the problems I faced later felt smaller because I had already filled my morning with gratitude. This is the secret. The world will always try to control your mood. But if you begin your day with calmness, you set the tone. You train your mind to stay steady, no matter what happens. And when you carry positivity from morning, it is much harder for negativity to take it away. So here is my challenge for you. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you open the door, take 1 minute. Breathe deeply. Whisper something kind to yourself. Or write down one thing you are grateful for. Start small, but start. Because your morning is the key that unlocks your calm and positivity for the whole day. Chapter 7. There was a season in my life when I believed I had to do everything alone. I carried my worries alone. I fought my battles alone. And I kept my pain inside. On the outside, I looked strong, but on the inside, I was breaking. And the more I hid my struggles, the heavier they became. One day, I realized the truth. Calmness and positivity are not only about how you treat yourself, but also about who you allow into your life. Maybe you know this too. Maybe there are people around you who always complain, who always bring negativity, who always make you feel smaller than you are. And after spending time with them, you feel drained, angry, or hopeless. This is no accident. People carry energy, and their energy enters you. If you want to stay calm and positive, you must choose carefully the voices you allow around you. I remember meeting a friend who always saw the worst in every situation. If the sun was shining, he would say, "It's too hot." If we got an opportunity, he would say, "It's probably a trap." At first, I laughed at his words, but slowly I noticed something. After each meeting with him, I felt negative too. His words became my thoughts, and his darkness became my mood. That day, I learned an important lesson. The people you spend time with shape the person you become. But I also remember another friend. Whenever I was tired, he listened with patience. Whenever I doubted myself, he reminded me of my strength. He was not perfect, but he carried light. And every time I spent time with him, I left with more hope than I had before. That is the kind of presence that builds calmness and positivity. Here is the truth. You cannot always choose your family, your coworkers, or the strangers you meet, but you can choose where you spend your energy. You can choose who you give your heart to. And sometimes, staying calm means creating distance from people who only bring storms into your life. It is not cruelty. It is self-care. Maybe you are afraid of being alone if you step away from negative people. But here is the surprise. Loneliness with peace is better than company with chaos. And once you protect your calm, you will find new people. People who lift you higher instead of pulling you down. I still remember the first time I walked away from a toxic friendship. It hurt. I felt guilty. But months later, I looked at myself and saw more light in my eyes. I had more space to breathe, more space to grow, and I understood. Protecting my peace was not selfish, it was necessary. So if you want to stay calm and positive, look around you. Who fills your mind with fear? Who makes you doubt yourself? Who drains your energy? And who makes you feel safe, strong, and hopeful? Choose wisely, because the voices you listen to today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Chapter 8. There was a time when I thought calmness meant doing nothing. I believed if I just sat still, my mind would become quiet. But the truth was the opposite. When I sat with no purpose, my mind became louder. Thoughts ran in circles. Fears grew bigger, and I felt more restless than before. That was when I discovered something powerful. Calmness is not only found in silence, but also in action. The right actions can heal your mind and bring you peace. Maybe you have noticed this too. When you go for a walk in the park, when you hear the sound of birds, when you watch the sky, something inside you becomes lighter. When you write down your feelings in a notebook, your mind feels clearer. When you help someone with kindness, your heart feels warmer. These are not big things, but they are powerful. They remind you that calmness is not about escaping life. It is about living it with purpose. I remember one day when I felt very anxious. I could not stop worrying about the future. I tried to push the thoughts away, but they kept returning. Finally, I stood up, put on my shoes, and went for a short walk. With each step, my thoughts became quieter. The trees, the air, the rhythm of walking calmed me more than any advice could. By the time I returned, the problems were still there, but I was stronger to face them. That day, I learned that movement creates calm. Here is the surprising truth. Your body and your mind are deeply connected. If your mind is restless, move your body. If your thoughts are heavy, write them down. If your heart feels empty, give kindness to someone else. These small actions shift your focus and create space for positivity to enter. Calmness is not always found by sitting still. Sometimes it is found by walking, by creating, by giving. Maybe you believe your problems are too big for such small actions. But think of it this way. Calmness does not come in one giant step. It comes in little moments, collected over time. A 10-minute walk, a short prayer, a kind word to a stranger, a page in your diary. These moments add up, and slowly they change your heart. I still remember the first time I started writing every night before bed. At first, it felt strange, but after a week, I noticed something. My mind became calmer, my sleep became deeper, and my mornings became lighter. It was such a simple act, but it gave me more peace than hours of overthinking ever did. So here is the lesson of this chapter. Calmness is not passive, it is active. You do not just wait for peace to come, you create it with your actions. Move your body, use your hands, share your heart. And when you do, you will discover that positivity grows not in your thoughts alone, but in the way you live each day. Chapter 9. There was a night when I could not sleep. My mind was full of noise, old regrets, new worries, and endless what-if questions. I turned from side to side, hoping my body would get tired, but it didn't. The more I tried to sleep, the more awake I became. That night, I realized something very important. Calmness is deeply connected to rest. If your body is tired and your mind never rests, it becomes very hard to stay positive in life. Maybe you know this feeling. You wake up already tired. The day feels heavy before it even begins. Every small problem looks bigger because your energy is low. And when your energy is low, Your emotions become weak. A tiny comment from someone can break you. A small mistake can destroy your confidence. It is not because you are weak. It is because you are exhausted. Calmness cannot survive in a body that never rests. I remember when I first started to respect my rest. I used to stay awake late at night, scrolling on my phone, filling my head with more worries. Then, one day, I made a promise to myself. Before bed, I would put my phone away and replace it with a small ritual. I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for. I breathed slowly, and I closed my eyes with a peaceful thought. At first, it was hard. But slowly, my nights became calmer, and my mornings became brighter. I understood that rest was not a waste of time, it was a foundation for positivity. Here is the truth. Sleep is not only for the body, it is also for the soul. When you rest well, your mind becomes clearer, your emotions softer, and your heart more open. Without rest, everything feels impossible. With rest, even the hardest days become easier. Calmness grows in silence, and positivity grows in recovery. Maybe you believe you are too busy to rest. You think, I have no time. I must keep working, keep doing, keep moving. But here is the surprising thing. Without rest, your work becomes slower, your mistakes become bigger, and your stress becomes heavier. Rest does not take time away from you. It gives time back to you because it makes your mind sharper and your heart stronger. I still remember one morning when I woke up after a deep, peaceful sleep. The problems in my life were still there, but my perspective was different. They did not feel like mountains anymore. They felt like hills I could climb. The only thing that changed was my rest, and yet it changed everything. So here is the lesson of this chapter. Do not fight through life with an empty tank. Protect your rest. Create small routines that help your body and mind recover. Maybe it is a short nap. Maybe it is 10 minutes of silence before sleep. Maybe it is gratitude written in a notebook. These small acts prepare you for tomorrow. Because when your body is calm, your mind can stay positive. Chapter 10. There was a time when I believed positivity was about big dreams only. I thought I would finally feel calm and happy when I achieved something great, when I got the perfect job, when I traveled to the perfect place, when I reached the perfect goal. But every time I reached something, the happiness lasted only for a short while, and then I felt empty again. That was when I realized the real truth. Calmness and positivity are not found in the big victories. They are found in the small moments we often ignore. Maybe you know this too. You keep telling yourself, I will be happy when I earn more money, when I lose weight, when I get respect. But the problem is, life keeps moving the goal further away. And if you keep chasing happiness in the future, you will miss the joy of today. The truth is, positivity grows in the little things. A smile from a stranger, a warm cup of tea, the sound of rain, a kind word you speak to yourself. These are small, but together they build a life that feels calm and meaningful. I remember one evening when I felt very low. Nothing special had happened, but I was restless. Then I stepped outside and looked at the sky. The sunset painted the clouds with colors of gold and pink. In that moment, I felt something powerful. Peace does not come from waiting for a perfect life. Peace comes from noticing the beauty already around you. That small sunset gave me more calmness than any big achievement ever did. Here is the surprising truth. Your brain remembers what you focus on. If you focus only on problems, your brain sees more problems. If you focus on small blessings, your brain begins to see more blessings. This is how gratitude transforms your mind. Gratitude is not about denying your struggles. It is about choosing to see the light even while walking in the dark. Maybe you believe your life has nothing to be grateful for right now. Maybe it feels too hard, too painful. But even then, there is something. The breath in your lungs, the strength to keep going, the chance to try again. These are not small, they are miracles. And when you practice noticing them, positivity begins to grow naturally. I still remember when I started writing down one small blessing every night. At first, it felt silly. But after a week, I noticed my mind changing. I smiled more. I reacted with more patience. My problems were still there, but they no longer controlled me. Gratitude gave me power. It taught me that calmness is not about waiting for perfect days. It is about seeing the goodness in imperfect days. So here's the lesson. Do not chase positivity only in the future. Do not wait for big victories before you allow yourself to feel calm. Instead, open your eyes to the small gifts of today. Because when you notice them, you will realize that happiness is not far away. It has always been here, waiting for you to see it. Chapter 11. There was a time when I believed calmness and positivity were about never making mistakes. I thought if I was perfect, then I would feel peaceful. But the truth was the opposite. The more I tried to be perfect, the more anxious I became. Every mistake felt like a disaster. Every failure felt like the end. And instead of peace, I only found pressure. Maybe you know this too. Maybe you push yourself so hard, trying to do everything right, and when you don't, your mind attacks you with guilt. One day, I made a mistake at work. It was small, but I could not stop thinking about it. I replayed it in my head again and again, punishing myself with thoughts like, "How could you be so careless? Why can't you do better?" The stress was eating me alive. Then a friend told me something I will never forget. You are human. You learn through mistakes. Stop asking yourself to be a machine. That sentence broke something inside me. I realized I was chasing an impossible goal, and it was stealing my peace. Here is the truth. Mistakes are not enemies. They are teachers. Every mistake carries a lesson. Every failure carries wisdom. Calmness and positivity grow when you stop fighting your humanity and start embracing it. Instead of saying, "I failed, so I am weak," you can say, "I failed, so I am learning." This small change in words can change everything in your heart. I remember when I was learning English myself. I made so many mistakes, wrong words, wrong grammar, wrong pronunciation. Each time I felt embarrassed. But one day, I decided to see mistakes differently. I told myself, every mistake is proof that I am trying. And suddenly, I felt lighter. I laughed at my errors. I learned faster, and I felt more positive. The mistakes had not disappeared, but my relationship with them had changed. Maybe right now you are afraid of failing. Maybe you avoid new opportunities because you don't want to look foolish. But here's the surprise. The more you avoid mistakes, the less you grow. And the less you grow, the less calm and positive you feel. Because deep down, you know you are hiding from life. True calmness comes not from avoiding failure, but from facing it with courage. One day, I asked myself, what is the worst thing that can happen if I fail? The answer was simple. I would try again. I would learn. I would grow. And suddenly, failure did not look like an enemy. It looked like a path. And when you see failure as a path, calmness returns because you no longer fear every step. So here's the lesson of this chapter. Do not demand perfection from yourself. Allow mistakes. Learn from them. Grow with them. Because the person who stays calm and positive is not the one who never falls, It is the one who falls, stands up, and keeps walking with hope in their heart. Chapter 12. There was a quiet evening when I sat alone and asked myself, what do I really want in life? I thought of success, of money, of respect, but deep inside, I realized what I wanted most was simple peace. I wanted a mind that did not fight me every moment. I wanted a heart that felt light even when life was heavy. I wanted to live with calmness and positivity, no matter what storms came my way. And maybe you want the same. The truth is, calmness and positivity are not one-time achievements. They are not medals you win and keep forever. They are daily choices. Every morning, you decide whether to begin with gratitude or with worry. Every conflict, you decide whether to react with anger or with breath. Every failure, you decide whether to call yourself useless or to call yourself a learner. These small decisions build the life you live. I remember a time when I faced one of the hardest moments of my life. Everything seemed broken. My work, my relationships, my confidence. I felt like giving up, but then I told myself, I can't control everything, but I can control my response. So I chose to breathe, to forgive, to take one step at a time. Slowly, the storm passed, and when I looked back, I realized something. The calmness I practiced did not just help me survive, it helped me grow stronger than before. Here is the surprising truth. You already have everything you need to stay calm and positive. You have your breath. You have your thoughts. You have your choices. The world outside may not change, but the world inside, you can. And once you change the inside, the outside no longer feels as heavy. Maybe right now you feel weak. Maybe you think calmness is too far away, positivity too hard to reach. But hear this, you are stronger than you think. The fact that you are here, listening, learning, searching for peace, already shows your strength. You are not lost. You are on the path. And every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the calm life you dream of. So here is the final lesson. Do not wait for life to be perfect before you choose peace. Begin today with what you have. Breathe deeply. Speak kindly. Forgive quickly. Notice the small blessings. And when you do, you will discover that calmness and positivity are not far. They are already inside you, waiting for you to choose them. Thank you, my friend, for staying with me until the end of this journey. I hope these words gave you peace, strength, and hope. Remember, calmness and positivity are choices you can make every single day. You do not need a perfect life to feel them. You only need the courage to choose them. Subscribe for more motivational audiobooks and stories in easy English. Share this video with someone who needs it. Save this for a time when you feel lost or tired. Stay calm, stay positive, and remember you are stronger than the storm.